Hey everybody, welcome to Freezer Meals 101. I am on assignment from Charla. It's Christy here. Sometimes you see me in her kitchen, but today we're in my kitchen. I'm making the stock for Charla. Earlier this week, she had bought a bunch of rotisserie chickens right from the grocery store. And I went over to her house and we did a little video about how to break down a grocery store chicken. You can shred it, you can chop it, you can part it out and just eat it like you would at Socialet, and it's delicious. And with the leftovers, with the bones and the leftover bits and pieces and the skin that you're not using, you can put that in a stock pot. I have a little tiny stock pot here today because I'm just doing one chicken. But you can put that in there, throw some vegetables in there with some water, and make yourself a really nice stock. So I'm showing you how to do that today. In this case, I have kohlrabi, mushrooms, red onion, and carrots. Normally, I would also add celery, but since this is a Charla recipe, we're going to skip the celery for this one. But you want to add enough vegetables that it gives it some depth and a flavor profile besides just the chicken. If you were going to make vegetable broth, you would put all of these into your pot and brown them in your pot first to kind of give it vegetable depth as well. So we'll put these in and we can add the water and get started. So now I have in my pot the mushrooms, the kohlrabi, the onions, and the carrots. It's important to note that if you're making something and you have those scrap pieces like the root of your onion or the top or the leaves on your kohlrabi, or you've peeled your carrots for a meal and you want to use the carrots, you can just put the peelings in. You can put the onion tops in. You can put in your mushroom peelings or anything you want. Any kind of vegetable scraps that you have, as long as they're free of dirt, you can put them right in there with it, and it just adds to the flavor profile of your stock. You can use your homemade chicken stock for lots of things. You can use it for stock itself. Some people just drink it as an alternative to coffee and tea if you get a little tired of something like that, but you want something hot. You can use it in your own soups. Homemade soups are even better with homemade chicken stock. And you can use it in recipes that require chicken stock. Sometimes it just needs a little bit of zip, and instead of water, the recipe calls for chicken stock. And it's a great way to use it for that. You can freeze it flat in little freezer bags, or you can freeze it in little containers. Sometimes I do 1 cup or 2 cup measurements. Sometimes I do 4 cup measurements. I don't usually do 8 cup measurements to freeze because that seems a little bit overboard. You could freeze it in ice cubes so you can add it to sauces. And there's lots of ways that you can use your homemade chicken stock. I ended up making a chicken salad with my rotisserie chicken that I had cut up, and I threw some tomatoes on there while I was making the stock, and it's still heating up. So I looked at my leftover tomato and I thought, man, I could throw that in there too. So I'm going to do that right now. It's coming along, and go ahead and throw that in there. Haha. I checked back and I have a good rolling boil happening on my stock. And I alluded to something earlier that the most secret ingredient for really good stock is, did anybody guess right? Bay leaves. Okay, I'm going to pop 2 bay leaves in right now. Pop, get in there. And they don't take long to do their magic of whatever it is that they do. And look, you can already see some of the grease coming to the top, and that's flavor. 100% of that is flavor. So I'm gonna let this boil. I'm gonna turn it down and let it simmer for about minimum half an hour. I'll probably let it go for an hour, maybe an hour and a half. And at that point, we're gonna do a bit of seasoning with salt and pepper and let it cool and throw it into some bags. Oh, we have to do an important part. We have to strain it, don't we? I'm pretty picky about how I strain mine. I will do a regular, just colander style, and then I'll actually do it again with cheesecloth. So I make a lot of mess here. You don't have to take all those steps, but it's important to me, so I do those things. All right, we'll see you in a bit. I am about an hour into my cooking. My lid is getting hot. And you can see it's starting to have some deep color there. It would be deeper if I had fried the vegetables in the bottom of the pot first, and it would pick up some of the drippings there, but this is okay. We're gonna enjoy it anyway. It's a nice color, and we get little bits of chicken. That's great. This is in good shape. So I'll give it another half an hour, and then I'll finish seasoning. I'll do salt and pepper, and I might add maybe a little bit of basil and thyme, just dried spices there, and add those in. You put those in at the end because they will be the most flavorful. If you put them in at the beginning, they kind of lose their flavor, their intensity. It's the opposite with bay leaves. I don't know why. As you can see, the water level has dropped a bit. It means it's boiling off and it's intensifying the flavor. I've added 1 teaspoon of salt so far, and I think I'm gonna do just a half teaspoon more. It's important to let that dissolve and bubble away for a bit before you try it again and decide. And at this point, I'm also gonna add a little bit of thyme and a little bit of basil. I'm half tempted to add a little bit of garlic, to be honest. But I think this will be okay. Here's my salt. Not quite a whole teaspoon. So altogether it's about 1.5 teaspoons. I'm gonna give it a stir and throw the lid back on for, 2 more minutes, because I think we're right at the end here. Oh my, I left it another 2 minutes. I'm back and had one more taste, and it is just about near perfection. So I'm gonna give it a little shake of pepper, not much, because I've over peppered it before, and then there is not a lot you can do about it. And I think I'm just gonna turn it off and let it sit and cool a bit before I attempt to do the straining, because it's really hot. Like, we can be sensible about it, and that way if I spill it on me or spill it on the floor, it's not gonna burn anybody, and we'll just give it a minute. But it's ready to go. I'm shutting it off now. Here is our wonderful chicken stock. It looks amazing. I'm a little bit sad that all that good stuff maybe has to go down into compost, but the real good stuff is the stock. So it's a sacrifice we have to be willing to make. I'm going to transfer it from my stock pot to a bowl with a colander, and then I'm going to transfer it back. I have a second colander, and I'm going to put some cheesecloth in it. If I was going to just turn around and make chicken soup with this, I might not do that second cheesecloth part, but sometimes when you freeze it, when you take it out, you need it for something really specific, and you don't want any chunks, no little chicken bits in it. So you want the clear broth, and that's okay. So I'm going to prepare for that. I don't have a tripod or a helper today, so I'm going to put the camera down and do this with 2 hands without any camera. Here's all the leftovers and that awesome chicken broth underneath. See, there's little bits in there. I rinsed out my original stock pot so I can dump this into my compost, reuse my colander with a bit of cheesecloth in it on this pot, and I'm going to pour it from this bowl back into this pot. Here's the chicken broth. Here is my cheesecloth set up over my colander, and this part I can film with one hand and pour it in there. And I'm catching all those little chicken bits. Probably would have been okay to use them, but I just made a decision to not. I wanted to make a note also about, I said I would put that stuff in my compost. We have a really good community program here through our municipality. They use enzymes when composting everything that goes out into that bin, and I am able to then put meat and bones in it. If this was just my home garden compost, I would just stick to the vegetables in it. And let's have a look. What's it gonna look like? Hey, that is pretty darn good. So I'll measure it into some freezer bags and label them and date them. And we will have chicken stock in our freezer, and it's gonna be awesome. Thanks for sticking around with me on my special assignment doing chicken stock. I hope you have great success. If you have any tips for your own chicken stock, go ahead and throw them in the comments down there and we'd love to see them. Have a great day.